Zdravo svima, dobrodošli u novu epizodu Uručenja. Posle kratke pauze vraćamo se interesantnim košarkaškim pričama, a u narednih nešto više od pola sata čućete priču jednog veterana i to ne bilo kog. Čućete priču jedne evroligaške legende. U pitanju je Kajl Hajns koji ove sezone nastupa u dresu Armanija, ali iza sebe ima bogatu evropsku karijeru, mada se osvrnuo i na deo proveden u Americi, odnosno na koledžu. Otkrio nam je nekoliko zanimljivih detalja iz svog odrastanja, iz dana koje je proveo na koledžu. Otkrio nam je i za koga navija u NFL-u. Pričao je i o svojoj aktivnosti u ELPI, udruženju evroligaških igrača, i govorio nam je o konkretnim ciljevima te organizacije. To su samo neke od tema koje smo prošli sa njim. Vidjet ćemo i zašto posebno voli Beograd, a da to nije samo zbog onih košarkaških stvari. U narednih otprilike pola sata slušajte sve ono što vas zanima o ovoj košarkaškoj legendi. Kyle, first, thank you for being with us here today, even via Zoom. First, and maybe the most important question, how are you? Is everything good with the whole team and your schedules and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be a guest. But yeah, I mean, the start is the beginning part of the season. So I think all of us, are looking forward to, the long marathon that is the EuroLeague season. But overall, I think that, that we're good. I'm good, and looking forward to hopefully you'll stay that way throughout the whole entire season.
Yeah, it's a good start for the season for Armani, but there's still a lot of surprises, I would say it like that, at the beginning of the season in the EuroLeague. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I think you're seeing, like a teams like Alba or some of the teams that are at the top of the standings right now, are the teams that are together, are also the teams that probably had a little bit more time together, during the preseason. And teams maybe like us and, some of the other teams that are still, I guess, trying to put together, the pieces and still trying to build chemistry are maybe having their struggles, not struggles, but, not as I guess as fit as some of the other teams, but as you said, it's a long season. And there's many more games left to be played.
Yeah. So for now, you are in the EuroLeague for more than a decade. Actually, you're the legend of the competition. What can you say about the changes during these 10 or more years in EuroLeague? How can you describe the EuroLeague at the beginning of your career there and now?
I mean, the beginning it was a little bit different because the format was different. There was a lot of with the format being different, it was more like the stages. Now it's a lot more competitive because we play every single team. And it doesn't necessarily the round. It's not necessarily a top 16 or that type of thing. Up until the playoffs, everybody is fighting and all the games are tough. I think overall to me, I think every year the EuroLeague has gotten more competitive. I think you see more and more teams, more and more balanced teams versus when I first started in the EuroLeague, it felt like there was maybe the top 5 or 6 teams, and the rest of the teams probably didn't necessarily were able to compete. But now I think there's no easy games in the EuroLeague. Every single day, every single game, there's not necessarily you can necessarily pick the winner or pick whoever that top team is before a game, before a match.
Yeah. You changed the team after 7 years that you spent in Moscow. How do you like Italy now and Milano? And is everybody good? Everything good for you there? Did you completely fit in now?
Yeah, I mean, I love I love Italy. I started my career here, many years ago. So for me, it was a great opportunity to kind of have a fulfillment for myself to come to a place and to, first of all, it was always a dream of mine to play in the Serie A or the first league of Italy. So I was able to come here and accomplish that. And also I think for my family, for my friends, and I wanted to just have a change of scenery, a change of environment. And I think that's what Milan has given me and my family, an opportunity to see something different after being 7 years in Moscow, which was amazing time, a great time for me and my family. To have the opportunity to come to Italy, to be part of this, this project, this ambitious project that Coach Messina and the Armani group has, trying to build, a EuroLeague contender, every year in Milan. It's been special, and I really enjoyed this past couple of years.
Yeah. We will get back on that part of your career and that big period that you spent in Moscow. But since we talk about Italy, it was your first European experience. And how can you describe it now? From the distance, what would you say about the first European experience, not only in basketball terms?
I guess you could say it was incredible. But it was eye-opener. It was such a culture shock, such a different change from where I am now. Growing up, I grew up in kind of almost like a big city in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So to go to where I was at, my first part of my career was like a small village with like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people. So I think that. Going there, I think I wouldn't change the fact that I went there. I think going there taught me a lot about European basketball. I was able to play with some high-level players and play with some high-level coaches that I don't think I would necessarily get the opportunity to. And then also I think it allowed me to kind of understand European basketball more and also understand European lifestyle more. So because the town was only like 3,000, 4,000 people, everything was a lot slower. So it allowed me to kind of get my feet underneath me and kind of grasp what European life was like. I could imagine if I was 21 or 22 years old and my first stop was Milan or Moscow or something like that. Like I probably would have went crazy. So the fact that I was able to go to this this small town and able to get a full understanding of what European lifestyle is and what European basketball is, I think it definitely helped me a whole lot.
How actually happened that everything with Italy, the first offer for the Europe, was it the hard decision for you or no?
I think it was. It's always a hard decision to leave home, but to play professional basketball was always my dream. Ironically, I met Andrea Tancredi, which I told the story many times. I met him in Summer League in Vegas at the time. I was introduced to him by, at the time, it was like the assistant general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they kind of thought that I would be a good player, a good fit for what he was trying to do, here in Italy. So I met him, and then from there, our relationship kind of took off, and he convinced me to kind of come overseas, and I was very thankful. I was very thankful and very. I think it gave me huge opportunities because, first of all, to start my career off and to have such a coach, who now is considered to be one of the top coaches in Europe, to have him as kind of like, one of my starter coach, my rookie season coach. So I think that it helped me build my foundation of my career, helped me kind of build like my habits and everything that I think has helped lead me to success. And now that I'm able to say that I'm playing, in year 15, but I think a lot of it had to do with Coach Trinchieri, and a lot of it had to do with the environment and the place that we were both at together.
Yeah. So did you work with Coach Trinchieri again through the season later, or no? In Bamberg, no. You worked with Chris?
No. We so once I left Italy, we always just kind of played against each other.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of been, I guess you'd say, a thorn in his side as a little bit, kind of being an opponent against his. But we haven't got the chance to work together again. But like I said, I think he was very instrumental in my career in the beginning, and even still to this day, every time I see him, he always gives me some advice and all that type of stuff. So.
Yeah. So what actually Germany meant to you in that time, in that period of your career? Was it a big step for you, or how did you see it?
Going to Bamberg was where I think I learned how to win, learned what it took to be part of a championship team, learned what it took to be part of a championship organization. It was the first time in my career where I wasn't necessarily like the featured player, or I wasn't like the go-to player. When I was in college, or even my first 2 years when I was in second division Italy, I was getting the ball, I was, scoring, averaging, 17, 18, 20 points a game. So it was the first time I went to somewhere and I had to fulfill a role. And then going there with Chris Fleming, and with the rest of the guys at the team that they had there, I was able to kind of understand what it took to actually play high-level European basketball. up to that point, like, you know, I was just like like most Americans, I was just out trying to score, trying to get as many points as I possibly can. But, you know, going there, I learned a lot. I learned how to win, and I learned, you know, how to be successful in a role. And like I said, I think, you know, that being in Bamberg definitely taught me, you know, so much. Like I said, I've been very fortunate to go from, you know, coaching Katie and, you know, actually learning the ropes of, you know, European basketball, you know, in a second division team, and then going to Bamberg in just my third year to play in EuroLeague, but also to play EuroLeague within such a unique system with, you know, so many unique players. You know, that it definitely, like I said, those first 3 years helped, you know, kind of give me a great start, you know, for my career.
What is the first and maybe the most important thing that you would say to your American, maybe ex-teammates or friends who wants to play basketball in Europe about European basketball?
I would first say, I mean, it's a grind. It's a grind. Like it's not as easy as you know, as you would think it is. You know, from the outside looking in. I think, you know, all of us, you know, think that, you know, because we play well in college, or, you know, some guys that are coming playing from the NBA. You know, I think, you know, all of us like, oh, we're going to go out, we're going to kill, we're going to average this, we're going to, you know, do all this. But it's the total opposite. So, I mean, my first advice would be first, you know, be patient, but also learn, be a student at the game. Like, you know, really learn about the European game, really learn about EuroLeague, really learn about the system, really learn about, you know, what it takes to be successful. Because, you know, if you come in naive, you know, that's a great way to, you know, not to last long, you know, here in Europe or in EuroLeague.
Yeah, I guess you learned that very well since you have like 4 titles in EuroLeague. So.
Yeah, I think I learned my very first day with Coach Kitty. It was like, you know, we were in practice, and I tried to do like what I would normally do in college, you know, go 1 versus 5, go to the paint and try to shoot the ball, and the ball like bounced off the side of the room and landed out of bounds, and he blew the whistle and let me have it. Like use every curse word, Italian, Serbian, English that you could possibly know. And I think from that moment on, the message was pretty much clear. And like I said, I learned very early on, you know, from him about what it takes to play at a high level in Europe.
Yeah, by the way, I think the whole EuroLeague knows how to curse in Serbian, so.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, they all understand everything. Yeah, so since we're talking about those titles in the EuroLeague, you have 4 of them for now. Can we actually start with that specific story about Olympiacos and winning 2 titles with them? And especially about that season with coach Dudom Ivkovićem, because it's something special for us here, of course, not only in Serbia, but in the whole region, in Balkan. What can you say about that season for Olympiacos, but at the beginning of the season? What did you guys think in that moment?
I mean, for me, first of all, like I was honestly just happy to be there. Like I was my 4th year, you know, I get a chance to play with Olympiacos. I was like, you know, before I came to overseas, Olympiacos is one of the only teams that I knew, just because, you know, of all the stuff that he had done, Josh Childress, and, you know, all the big names that had went there. So for me to be in my 4th year, to have an opportunity to play with Olympiacos, I honestly was just happy to be there, and then to play with like Spanulis, and then to learn and meet, you know, Coach Duda. Like I was dreaming. I'm still, you know, still feel like I'm dreaming to this day. But when we started off the season, like, you know, it was a completely different mentality from what Olympiacos had known before. You know, before Olympiacos was always, you know, spending the most money. They had, you know, big name players. You know, they had, you know, the top of the top. So, you know, from this team, they wanted to have young players and build around Spanulis. So it was, you know, me, you know, now guys that are superstars, I guess you could say, in Europe. But, you know, at the time, you know, we were all just kind of young players. Me, you know, Kostas Papanikolaou, Kostas Lucas, you know, Yorgos Brindizis, you know, all of us, you know, we're just kind of, you know, getting our start in Europe. But, you know, we were able to kind of build a chemistry together. And with the guidance of Coach Iković, we were able to kind of pull off something very special, something memorable, you know, something that, you know, many people will probably remember for a very, very long time.
Yeah. What can you say about the cooperation, the daily cooperation with Coach Ivković? Is there any specific?
It was, I mean, first of all, you know, rest in peace, Coach Ivković. I mean, but it was I mean, Duda is amazing, amazing guy. I mean, as sure as everybody there knows, I mean, he's a more amazing person than he is a basketball coach. So for me, I feel like I learned more, lessons off the court, or more lessons about how to be a man, or more lessons about how to be respectful, or more lessons about how to carry myself than I did on the basketball court. So for me, it was like every single day that I went to practice, every single day I had a conversation, I learned something from him. I was able to kind of soak up as much, knowledge as I possibly could. So I think that's who, Coach Ikovic is. I think he was just the type of person that was always trying to teach the game, not only teach the game, but also teach about life. And that was something that I learned the most, from him during the time that we were together.
Yeah, and you mentioned him also. Playing with Vasilis Spanoulis, also the legend of the league.
Yeah, I mean, Spanoulis is, to this day, he's still, one of my biggest mentors in basketball. I learned so much from him, on and off the court. It's the same, but I learned how to, the biggest thing I learned from him is his habits. Every single day he does the same thing, and I understood why he is the player he is. I understood why he was so great. Is because he continues to do the same things. He's the hardest worker player in practice. He's the first one to the gym, the last one. All the cliches that you hear, he's the definition of that. So for me, I learned so much from him. Just watching him from afar, just doing everything learning everything and watching everything he does. And like I said, I was honored. My fourth year in Euroleague, I'm this 23-year-old, 24-year-old kid. I'm playing with the Euroleague, legend Euroleague GOAT. So it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah. You did a great job again next season actually with Coach Bartzokas. What can you say about that season? Is there any specific thing that you still talk about with those ex-teammates, and when you see each other, what is the most important thing that marked that season?
I think it was, to me, working with Coach Bartzokas, who's now, also one of the top coaches in Europe. At the time, he was coming from, a small club in Penionis, and now he's, one of the top coaches in European basketball. But, I think that year we basically wanted to prove everybody that it wasn't a fluke. Everybody thought, that they got lucky the first year. Everybody was like, they made a shot, they got lucky. So for us, we wanted to prove that, that we were one of the greatest, teams in EuroLeague history. And I think we were able to accomplish that, by winning back-to-back. But I think the most memorable thing for us was just that the London Final Four. The being in London, first of all, was, something memorable. And then also winning the Final Four there, made it even more special. So I think, for us, beating Real Madrid and beating Ceska was, memorable moments. So I think anytime we see each other still to this day, we all have a common bond together, knowing that, that we were able to accomplish something together that, only, now Ephes and, Maccabi, two teams that were able to do back-to-back in EuroLeague history. So now we kind of, share, in those rare air of, teams in EuroLeague history.
Yeah. And was the CSK also the step forward for you in your career? How did you look on that, and how everything happened with them, the offer and everything, and then those 7 years there? How would you describe that?
Yeah, it was a great next step for me. I got the call from Coach Messina. And if anybody knows Coach Messina, he's very persuasive. So it wasn't easy. Once I got off to talk to him, knowing him and knowing everything that he has to offer, I wanted the opportunity to go there. And it's like playing for Ceska. Ceska is one of the teams, one of the powerhouses of Europe. So it's difficult to say no to Ceska. So once I got the opportunity, talking to Coach Messina, to play with, play with one of the biggest clubs, another big club in Europe, and to play with some of the greatest players in European history gave me another opportunity to kind of push my career forward. So I never would have thought I would have been there 7 years, to be honest with you. I never would have thought I'd be living, spend majority or even more than half of my career in Moscow, Russia. But I'm thankful, and I think that this kind of just shows, not to be kind of cliche, but sometimes you think about things, or you think about what you think your path is, and it's the complete opposite. For me, I probably would have thought that I would, be in Greece or be in Olympiacos for a long time, but ended up being the opposite. Ended up me being in Russia, Moscow, for 7 years of my life, and having great memories and winning titles and championships there.
If you have to describe those 7 years with just, let's say, 3 words.
A lot of wins, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it is like that. And what about
a lot of wins.
What about the cooperation with coach Dimitrisom Itudisom? That was your last title actually in 2019 in Vitoria.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Itudisom, he's I think he taught me how to take that next step in my basketball career. First of all, on the court, he taught me how to, I guess you could say, play the game of European basketball, play the game of EuroLeague basketball. He taught me how to play the game of basketball, make the right reads, kind of like, almost like the chess, I guess you could say, of basketball. He taught me how to, always be prepared. And then he taught me how to be a leader. Because when I was there, he entrusted me of being the captain of the team. So, during those times in my 6 years of working with him, I think I was able to grow, both as a player, but also was able to grow as a person. I think, because many things, me and him had many conversations. We lived in the same apartment building. So, we had many conversations, many dinners, spending, a lot of time together. So, me and him was able to kind of grow, a great relationship with each other, where it was get to the point where it was like, we almost kind of, knew what each other was thinking, those different type of things. So, I'm always thankful that, I had the opportunity to work with him.
So is Coach Itudisom a good neighbor?
Yeah, he's a good neighbor. Yeah, he's a good neighbor. So totally different way. You see how intense he is on the court, and you see how he's like, always his face is always screaming. He's a total opposite. He's him and his wife are always dropping off from Osaka. Which is like a Greek cuisine, always doing that type of stuff. He had a really big dog, so he's always in the park, walking his dog. He was always, very friendly to my kids. So I would say he's a top 5 neighbor.
Yeah, I spoke to him a few times. Actually, every year when he's here because of Zvezda, and now he's gonna be here probably when they get back. I mean, when they need to play against Partizan. But every time when I talk to him, he always has a nice words about you. Yes. And every time when we speak about that period in CSKA in Moscow, yeah, everything is around you. You were the most important part probably for his team. So I'm sure that Coach Itudisom also know how to curse in Serbian, but what about Coach Messina?
Yeah, I mean, I was having the opportunity to play for Coach Messina a second time. Yeah. Has been incredible. He's literally like a basketball savant, like a basketball professor. Like literally, like his basketball IQ and the way he teaches the game and the way he understands the game is second to none. So for me, like as I was talking about with Coach Duda, like literally every day I come to practice, I learn something new about the game. From his teaching, whether or not it's like a small detail, like, instead of holding the ball here, or, instead of facing this way, being this way, or, instead of being, on the wing, you should be here. So I literally learn every single day something different, about the game of basketball. So, with him, these past 3 years have definitely been, a great joy, and a great lesson, every single day.
Yeah. Does he know to curse on Serbian?
He probably knows how to curse in every language possibly.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm sure if you see his how do you say it, his rants and his demeanor on the sideline. I think he's even made up some new curse words that probably didn't even exist before.
So did you have a chance to learn any other words on Serbian?
I was with Pero Antic a lot, and and Teodosic and these guys. So I don't know much. I know obviously Brate. Everything is Brate. Yeah. Brate this, Brate that. But I got Marko Kečelic, so I mean, he was my roommate my whole time when I was in Libiako. So, you know, my agent is Misko, who's serving. So, I have a strong, very very strong connection, you know, with many people, and you know, with the country of Serbia. So, I know some words. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to speak anything now. But yeah, some of my best teammates and some of the people that have been very instrumental and very vital to my career. Some people that I call some of my closest friends in basketball are all Serbian. So like I said, Belgrade is one of my favorite cities, and I always look forward to traveling there and getting a chance to visit there.
Yeah. Did you have a chance to try Serbian food, traditional one?
Yeah, I've tried. I honestly don't know the name of many of the foods, but when I was in Moscow, I would always hang out with Teo, and we would watch, EuroLeague games and stuff like this. So he would always hang out at this one Serbian restaurant,
oh, really?
in Moscow. And then I would go watch the EuroLeague games with them, and they always would bring us all these like different like Serbian meat dishes and all these different type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've eaten quite a few Serbian food.
Yeah, perfect. So I would like to speak also, I told you that before the official conversation, I would like to speak also about ELPA and everything that actually happened in those terms.
Yep.
You are the part of ELPA from the very first beginning, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What can you say about making your first steps and making the first goals for the rest of the EuroLeague and the rest of the players?
I think overall, I think we more than, how would you say, met or surpassed our first goals. Mm-hmm. I think initially when we first started, our goal was first of all to unify the players, of EuroLeague to create this association, and also just have a seat at the table, when we're making decisions. When decisions were made instead of for us, we wanted to be able to decisions previously were dictated, to us, from management, from owners, from clubs. So, we wanted to have the opportunity to be at the table when these decisions made and be able to, voice our opinions and to make sure that the players, rights were protected, and make sure that that we would benefit, from it. But I think because of the pandemic, number one, I think also because the situation in with the war in Russia and Ukraine, I think also with the situation with the shift in EuroLeague management, has allowed us to kind of accelerate things that we probably never would have even thought was possible, I guess you could say, in our initial meeting. But I mean, I'm very happy with where ELPA is. I think it's only been if I'm correct, I think it's only been 4 years that we've been established as a union, and the things that we have accomplished, I think has been amazing. I think that they're going to continue to help and benefit players and help strengthen the European basketball as a whole in the future.
Yeah. So when you say protection of the player, what are the examples of the protection of players? I mean, also for little things, for details, for daily things, and also for a big one, for contracts and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, you have like protections as far as like the smaller protections, like wonderful protections. Like one of the things that we wanted to maintain was player safety. So one of the things that we talked about was the stickers on the floor. So it might be something small, but it's a big thing for for a lot of players, because there was a lot of injuries. Even in some domestic league games, you still see it now, but in EuroLeague, we're able to kind of remove this. Cleaning up, a lot of the medical, opinions, allowing players to have the opportunity to get, second medical opinions, or making sure they get the right medical opinions when they have injuries. Then, also, travel standards, those type of things, making sure that the players are able to, travel the best way possible, making sure that we have adequate meals before and after games, and those type of things that are going to help benefit players. It might be like something small, something minute, but it's also going to help with the recovery of players and making sure that players are able to play for as long as they possibly can. And then off the court, the bigger protections, as far as like, contracts, making sure that there is, a standard contract, that all teams and all clubs and all players must, be a hold to, payment process, making sure that players are paid, on time. And there's a whole bunch of other little things, but those are kind of like the major things that we were able to accomplish with the EFA, the framework agreement that was just recently passed, maybe a little less than a few weeks or a month ago. So there's just many protections that are put in place that are going to not only help benefit the players, but I think also helps benefit the league and also benefits the clubs as well.
So is there any mechanism for you to control all those things? The details especially, but also, the standard contracts and things like that?
Well, so now the framework agreement, the European framework agreement, which is like essentially like our collective bargaining agreement, which is, the first of its kind, for EuroLeague players. Up to this point, we didn't have anything. So that agreement is the protections itself, is the mechanism in place itself that helps protect all this stuff. It was something that was approved, not only by the league, but also approved by the clubs. So that helps kind of, it's almost like you could say it's our manual, our Bible, I guess you can say that helps, make sure that we have the right standards and the right protections in place that, is going to help, benefit, everybody involved, for the next years to come.
So the thing there is probably the most interesting for me, but not for fans or the crowd, is about media activities. Actually, a lot of players don't like to work with medias, or they're just not that type of person and something like that. But what about media activities? Do we have a chance to speak with you officially like this when you have like day off or something like that?
Yeah, I think I think that's something that was something that we wanted to make sure that was put in place. Obviously it's sorry, as a motorcycle drives by. Obviously it obviously the relationship between players and the media is something that is special. Something that is a necessity. Like you said, even though that all players don't necessarily like doing it, but it's something that's a necessity, especially now with social media. With everybody on TikTok and Instagram and all this other type of stuff. So it's definitely something that's important. So us at Elpa, we want to make sure that that the players, it's another level of protection. We want to make sure that the players are able to speak to the media, freely, but also able to kind of speak to them on their terms as well. So they're not necessarily bombarded with 10 or 15 interviews and during their off day when they're trying to spend time at home with their families or trying to do other things, but also trying to make sure that there's a window and there's an opportunity to to speak to the media if both parties want to. So
do you like medias?
Yeah. I like it so much that I started my own podcast and all that different type of stuff. So I enjoy it. I think it's all sometimes I don't, like after losses, or those different type of moments. I don't think anybody likes talking to anybody when after you lose a game or something like that. But overall, I enjoy it. I enjoy, it's my opportunity to get a chance to talk to the fans, talk to some of the people that I respect, the most, and then also opportunity for people to kind of get a different glimpse or a different look of me, of my colleagues, my peers outside the court, because everybody sees what we can do on the court, but not many people get opportunity to hear us speak and hear us kind of voice our opinions or learn more about us or our stories.
So what about that podcast? Do you still work on it?
Yeah, I'm looking to I think for both podcasts that I do, this will be the third season, I guess you could say, the third year. So I really enjoy it. For me, it's the opportunity to learn and speak to some of the players that I've always dreamed to talk to, some people I look up to, some people I play against, so I've had opportunity to speak with so many great guests. So I would love to. I look forward to continuing. I look forward to continue to speak with some more people.
Yeah. there were a lot of important topics in those podcasts that you do, and I think one of them was homesick for you guys who are from America or from other continents. So do you still have that topic in your mind as an important one, not only for youngsters but also still for you, even though you are 10 years here or more?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody gets homesick at certain times of the year, especially when you're away for so long. For me, it happens mostly during like the holiday times. I'm lucky enough that I have my kids and my family here with me, but, during the holiday times where I get a chance to, miss extended family, my parents or, my friends and stuff like that. So, it's definitely a big topic. And then also just like some small things, maybe, have an opportunity to, listen to the music or, going to see a cinema or different things like that, sometimes aren't, readily available to us here. But I mean, that's I always tell, young guys that that's something that is going to probably be your biggest battle. It's not necessarily, the basketball. Basketball is basketball. I think, for the most part, all of us, can play basketball. But the biggest thing you're going to have to deal with is the mental aspect, having to, be away from friends and family and, being in a foreign land, in a foreign country, for 10, 8 to 10 months out of the year. So I think that's always the most and the biggest challenge that, most young guys or all of us have to face. And it's a battle that continues on, even with me being 15 years over here, something I still face with every single day.
Yeah. So do you see yourself in medias one day? Would you like to? Would you like to try a commentary part of the job?
Yeah, I mean, I like talking about basketball. Like basketball is like I like talking about it. So if I'm fortunate enough to be able to talk about basketball every day, then why not? Then why not? If I'm able, if somebody wants to listen to me talk about basketball, I think that's the most important part. If people want to listen to me talk about basketball, then then why not? I mean, to me that's not a job. It's more just something I would do anyway. If I was just sitting on the couch with my friends or with my teammates, we would just be talking the same way. So if I had the opportunity, yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. So Candace Parker is the favorite one for me, even if I do not play basketball or something, but I really love to listen to her. So I think that's a good example of that. So you mentioned the other stuff beside basketball and other things. Do you have enough time to watch any other sport or to play any other sport?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big American football guy. I like American football. So, right now it's American football season, so, I get a chance to watch that on Sundays. Here in Italy, calcio or football is huge here. So, the last couple of years I've been able to really start following football, and whether or not it's, Inter Milan or AC Milan, or, they literally play. There's a game going on right now that I can, kind of see from my balcony, but they literally play, 5 or 10 minutes away from me in San Siro, so get a chance to experience those games. And then all other sports, baseball, I'm a sports junkie. I like watching, Formula One, everything, racing, golf, everything. So, I love watching sports. So I think for me, I'm a competitor at heart. If I wasn't playing basketball, I'd probably be doing something still related to sports. So yeah, I'm always watching sports all the time.
Should I ask, who do you cheer for in NFL?
Yeah, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles.
That makes sense.
Of course.
And in Formula One?
In Formula One,
is it a driver or a team actually?
I don't really have a favorite team. I'm just really just like intrigued about how first of all how they can stay in the car so long and not use the bathroom. Like to me, like little things like that, I'm just like, how is that possible? Like I get antsy driving from here to practice, and I'm just like, and they're in the car, driving around, with like 100-something laps or whatever, 75-something laps. And they're so focused and they're so determined. They're going at such high speeds. Like to me, that's the most intriguing part. So no, I don't have a favorite team, but I just enjoy watching watching the races, honestly.
Yeah. Do you have any other hobbies? I see a lot of sneakers out there. Behind you. Is that a hobby or just a need?
To me, it's a need. If you talk to my wife, she'll say it's a foolish hobby. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of sneakers. I blame it on my dad when I was younger. You know, I had big feet. I would wear a size, I guess in Europe is what, 51 or 51.5, so size 16, since I was in the 8th grade. So I could never find any sneakers. So I think for like 2 years, and also my parents weren't like able to afford many pairs of sneakers. So it wasn't like they were buying, you know, me the most expensive sneaker out. So I remember I always would get like the worst sneakers possible. So I always said, you know, I was like, if I ever become a professional basketball player or whatever, I'm going to buy whatever sneaker I want. And, you know, from there, you know, it turned from me buying one sneaker to now I probably have hundreds. So that's kind of like my I guess you could say my hobby, my guilty pleasure. I guess you could say my collective item. I guess you could say.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you. We said that it's gonna last like 45 minutes, but it was more. So I hope we are not gonna have
cool.
we are not gonna have problem with Alpa or something.
No.
For the end of the conversation, do you have any special message for Serbian fans, basketball fans, of course?
No, yeah. Hello, fans. You know, out there in Serbia. You know, you know, it's really special to do this interview. You know, like I said before, you know, Belgrade and being in Serbia is, you know, one of my favorite places in the world to travel to and play at. You know, obviously I've been on kind of the opposition, playing against Red Star and playing against Partizan. But I mean, it's always a joy to, you know, to play because of the atmosphere, because of the fans there, because of everything. So, you know, all the fans there, just want to say, you know, thank you so much for supporting me in my career, and I look forward to, you know, playing against you guys, you know, again very soon.
Perfect. Thank you, Kyle, one more time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope we will see each other in Belgrade.
Yes, I hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care.
Nastavite da pratite uručenje i narednih sedmica, naravno na društvenim mrežama. Nam pišite svoje predloge i sugestije. Pratite nas na Facebooku, Twitteru i Instagramu, kao i na našem YouTube kanalu. Tamo možete pronaći sve što ste propustili prethodnih meseci.